I left the house about 8 in the morning, and I was on my way to city center in Dar es Salaam to meet Christopher at 10. We were going to immigration's headquarters. Finally, I reached the main road, and I boarded the Dada, which took me to the Kigalboni ferry port. I stepped off of the Dada at the bus station, and I began to walk towards the ticket booth to purchase a ticket to ride the ferry to the other side. I came upon this young woman who seemed to be at least 30 years my junior, and she was having difficulty trying to carry all the items that she had to carry to wherever she was going. I walked up to her and I picked up a bag. It was heavy. And she looked up at me and I gestured to her, "I'm here to help." She handed me a bucket, 2 buckets, one stacked inside the other. And then she grabbed her bag and another stack of buckets. And we began to walk. She led the way. The ticket line was long, and she went to the front of the line where she could leave her items while she waited in line. And she started to go to the back of the line, and I said, "Hapana, no." I pointed to the front of the line and I handed her 500 shillings. And she took the money and she went in the front of the line. No one dared say a word about her cutting the line because everyone could see that an elder was with her and was helping a youth. They showed respect at that very moment. She got the tickets. I followed her to the waiting area where it began to quickly become overcrowded. After 5 to 6 minutes, the ferry arrived and the gate was unleashed and everyone rushed out as if we all were a herd of cattle. We walked onto the ferry boat and she found us a spot. She took my buckets and she flipped it over and she patted the bottom of it that was facing up and she gestured for me to sit down. I sat down next to her and I can read in her exterior and her body language that she was so grateful to have me with her that day. And I was very, very happy to oblige her. It was an honor to help my Dada, my sister, my African sister. The boat, the ferry, finally reached the other side. Again, as if we were a herd of cattle, we rushed off of the ferry onto dry land. She was ahead of me, and I kept close watch of her so I would not lose her. It was so many people. Finally, I caught up with her, and I began to wonder, how far does she have to go? I hope I can take her as far as she is going. But then she continued to walk further and further, and we came upon where I was to meet Christopher. And I said to myself, I hope she doesn't have to go far. I hope it's close. But she continued to walk. She passed the area where I was to meet Christopher. And I really became concerned because I might get lost. If I go as far as she is going, I might get lost. And so I began to call out to her, Madam, Dada. And she turned and she looked. And I gestured to her, I cannot go with you no further. She dropped her bags and she took my bags and she wrapped her arms around me and she hugged me and she said, Asante, Asante Sana, Asante. She was so thankful. I walked away from her and I wondered, how is she going to get where she's going with all of that stuff? And by the time I crossed the street and I looked back to see how far she had gone, but I didn't see her. Where did she go? I looked and I looked and she was nowhere. But wherever she was going, she got there.